Maybe they think they're smarter. But today, we no longer have any feelings on this aspect. Anyone who will betray his homeland for the benefit of imperialism will be treated as such. We cannot have a revolution without communicating. Some will say that you shouldn't talk too much, but when we don't speak, it's manipulation that takes over. Understand something. The father of the revolution communicated a lot. I'm talking about Thomas Sankara. In one of his remarks, he told you this: imperialism is a bad student. When he is sought out from class, he comes back, he always comes back. And I remember that in his address to his ECOWAS comrades, he said that to break up the umbilical cord that binds us to imperialism, he was not going to look for a crumb of state with smart fingers so well sharpened to break this cord, but rather, but sooner, you will need a sturdy lumberjack with a sharp axe to give a sharp blow and break the agreement. That says it all. I'm going to explain a little to you how imperialism behaves. After the assassination of the father of the revolution, precisely the regime that imperialism wanted was installed in the 90s. Do you all remember a program that was imposed on us? The Structural Adjustment Program. This was a plan. I will explain to you. By implementing this program in our region, you notice that, over the 2 decades that followed, all our factories which were in place were privatized. Our economy has been destabilized. They set up a neo-colonial system. A system of wild capitalism that only benefits the leaders and their friends, a restricted circle. On the side of the forces, they did everything to destroy our armies. They said to lower the budget of the armies, to no longer equip them, to no longer train. What was done in the sub-region? Our armies were reduced to nothing. They were preparing the thing. During this time, large countries like Niger, Mali, experienced a resurgence of what they called rebellions. Separatists from nowhere tried to divide these countries. They did not succeed. But the outcome of their plan was that from the 2010s, that is to say 20 years later, that terrorism invites itself into our lands. Indeed, we saw it born. 20 years later, individuals were chosen and were just told them to go ahead and fight them. Their armies are unstructured and we had work to make this happen. They will never be able to stop you and you will impose on them what we want. These individuals recruited young, ignorant, innocent people in our various campaigns, to whom they inflicted drugs and lead them to kill their compatriots. And evil was born. How were these individuals maintained? Don't forget, here in Burkina Faso, we harbored the terrorist leaders. It was well planned. And how to get there? When these terrorists are going to be launched, there is someone who could perhaps intervene in favor of our states. I name here the late General Muammar Gaddafi. He had to be eliminated. And one fine day, they fell on him. They eliminated him. They still had in this plan the ingenious idea of putting all the bunkers of arms and ammunition at the disposal of these terrorists, who were therefore to destabilize our sub-region. The plan was perfect. And from then on, they put themselves in battle order. They started heading south. We still remember when the regime in place in Bamako at the time therefore called on foreign forces. It didn't take more than a few hours for it to deploy. It was well prepared. They deployed and pretended to stop terrorism. And immediately, we saw the installation of several foreign forces in Mali for 10 years. During these 10 years, when terrorism was contained in the north, it invited itself to the south. And Burkina Faso was infested from 2015. Everything was well planned and well thought out. I still remember when we were in Beir, north of Timbuktu. So, we saw special forces from these countries coming to overtake us, to go deeper. And when they came back, they were very red. They have small drilling machines and many other geological equipment that we were looking at, and wondered where they had gotten this red earth. Because by patrolling around Beir, we have no red earth. Maybe they were digging. It seems they were probing. We didn't know what it was. The Malian sky no longer belonged to the Malians. Everything was well thought out. When people who fought on the ground also made the observation and decided at some point to take responsibility. And here they come out of nowhere calling us putschists. We are not French. We do not understand what it means. And the local valets, who surely do not even understand the deeper meaning of the word, also calls us putschists. Alright, we made it on our own over the years. Regarding Burkina Faso, you must have noticed that all the bodies were deconstructed. No more training, no more anything for the army. They imposed on all our headquarters, all our schools, and all our strategic structures what they called military advisors. When we revolted on September 30th, 2000, the first thing was to try to find out who these military advisors are and where they were. We have therefore able to identify that the evil is deep. And the first thing was to ask them to leave our army. They left. And what I told you not long ago, you can't hope to find your lost object by calling on the person who stole it from you to come and help you look for it. It was therefore necessary to decide, to make courageous decisions. What we decided to do was not without consequences, because when we had already asked the advisor to leave, we felt demonstrations. We were made to understand that we won't be able to get by without them. And every time they told us, this resulted in major attacks on the ground. We received the message. When, at the dawn of 2023, We decided to tell the foreign forces present here to leave, because we want to unite as Burkinabe. They probably didn't like it. But why come and die on our land? We prefer to fight ourselves. We asked that they return home. Unfortunately, I tell you here today, as I like to say, colonization has returned. There are house slaves who still don't understand. At the time, military officers wrote to us and approached us to tell us that it was a very bad decision and that we are not going to last 2 months. Files were written and these files were sent to us to give us a strategic analysis of their thinking. We said either we are sovereign or we remain slaves forever. Indeed, when the last soldiers left Burkina Faso, we understood what it was about. The attacks followed immediately, from Tinakov, Patioga, and so on. But what they had forgotten is that the people of Burkina Faso had understood our message and set out on the same path as us. We reorganized quickly, and suddenly, we found that all terrorist sleeper cells woke up in Burkina Faso. We reorganized the army as quickly as possible, at unrivaled speed. We created several units. And even though several more are to come, we have equipped them. And today, this equipment continues because in the days to come, in the coming months, what you will see coming in Burkina Faso must make our army a power to be feared. We will not skim on resources. We understood that the fight that is underway against imperialism will be tough, very tough. But only the tough will pass, and the Burkinabe are tough. And we will pass. This is to tell you that imperialism has plenty of time. When it wants to destabilize, it looks immediately. If it is not possible, it lays the groundwork to do it in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But it has no interest in us being independent. Today, all they want for Burkina Faso is chaos. Because they hope to bring their foreign forces here and hope to recover the situation in 10 years, even in 20 years. But we will never let them achieve this objective. That is why we have been warning for more than one. Local valets, living room slaves, so that they do not betray their homeland for the benefit of imperialism. Some understood, fell in line. Others didn't understand. Maybe they think they're smarter. But today, we no longer have any feelings on this aspect. Anyone who will betray his homeland for the benefit of imperialism will be treated as such.